But I think it shouldn't matter. Of course, I think that way about gender and color and all of that. It's kind of like that got back to why I think that this country sort of creates those divisions. You know, why don't we take color off of all the government forms?
I'm right there with you.
But
all right, so this motherfucker, he's always commenting. And I hate to even give him a platform, but I'm going to do it. Roddy Green.
this is the time for it.
Yeah, but he's always just commenting on minuscule bullshit. You know what? I've got a YouTube channel. I'm running it exactly the way I want. Any little intricacies or idiosyncrasies that I'm doing on my channel that you don't like, guess what? You have the option to unsubscribe and never watch my shit again. He's always... So here he says...
but generally, we like you.
I don't even know that. He likes me enough to comment like 17 times on each video, though.
Oh.
So I don't know if I'm doing something right or wrong. But this is just one example. Eating, defecating, masturbating, or smoking while making a video is bad taste. And I said, what about vaping? Because I've never smoked in a video.
And you haven't tasted the stuff that I've been smoking, so how do you know?
I'll vape as much as I fucking want to.
That's right.
It's my prerogative. If you don't like to see someone vaping on camera, I don't even care if I don't see what difference it makes.
It could be worse. I could be vaping and putting a bunch of nonsense comments on other people's videos.
Yeah, I don't think no one's ever eaten, defecated, or masturbated on one of my videos. So he's definitely
not on our channel.
He's got to be talking about the vaping. I don't give a shit, man.
There was that one time when I wasn't sure the camera was running.
Fat. I get a lot of bots too. And the thing about my channel, I don't censor anything.
You might as well. It's just
no. I'm not going to.
I mean,
I refuse to.
You might as well do it that way because it's end up being sort of a bottomless pit of deciding whether people are worthy, and it's like I could be doing something more with my time.
Well, I mean, I reached the same conclusion through different means. I don't not censor because it's just a waste of time. I not censor because I want an open dialogue. And I don't want to fall into the same...
Well, I'm sure some people that do censor consider their dialogue, if it goes below a certain level, then it's kind of useless. But then you spend a lot of time deciding that, and it's like, it's easier to just...
I don't even care about the amount of time it takes. I care about not suppressing someone's opposing viewpoints. And it's so often, buddy, I don't know if you're aware, but so many blog posts and YouTube channels... If they don't like they weed it out. If they don't like what you're saying, they want just the stuff that supports them. They want to keep their little echo chamber. And so they meticulously go through and get rid of anything that opposes them. And I can think of a few sites.
If you're making money, part of the reason that you're making money is because people like reading the comments. If they like your video, they like
you think
reading.
So?
Yeah, they like reading. Half of the stuff is reading the comments. And have you ever looked at Facebook pages where they go, look at this Facebook page, but don't really pay that much attention to what they're presenting. Look at all the people. There's a whole lot better conversation going on in the comments.
Some Amazon reviews I've seen, like for that banana slicer. Have you seen the Amazon reviews for the banana slicer? It's so funny. It's like, I've been doing this banana slicer all wrong because it's kind of shape curved. I've had it turned the other way. I didn't know what to do. They're just people being funny.
But I mean, I would venture to say that a small part of your monetization might be the comments.
And I don't care about monetization either. I don't care if this makes money. I'm not gonna suppress.
You were saying how much money you made a month, so it means something to you.
Like any hobby, if it makes a little bit of money, it's a good thing. I'm not going to turn it down.
Yeah, I mean, but if your monetization includes how much people enjoy the comments, then it might be worth your while, not you, but worth the while of those people who edit comments to go in and delete the ones that are going to cause people to be uncomfortable. There's too many to weed through because too many people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Just get all the pertinent ones and you can actually have a decent conversation that people might enjoy following.
I never thought of that.
And give your site better ratings because they don't have to wade through all the people who are just, I'm sorry, but all your subscribers are full of crap.
But on the flip side, maybe seeing all the drama and the conflict might be something people want to, I don't know.
Unless it's just counterproductive.
Not that I give a shit about that either.
Counterproductive drama and conflict.
A lot of it is. A lot of it's.
So I can see both sides.
Yeah. I just don't care. I care more about letting everyone have a voice, and which is rare. What I'm doing is actually a minority position in the YouTube. I mean, there are some, extreme end, I'm thinking maybe Atheist Experience, I don't know, Freethought blogs, Steve Shives. There's a bunch that if you, they even have some people have algorithms set up to where if you subscribe to channel A over here, we'll see it, and you get blocked from my channel because I don't like that guy. They do that a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
On Twitter, if you're following this guy that I don't like, I've got an algorithm set up to where I block you, and you don't even see what I get to post.
Well, it's almost like a credit rating.
It's ridiculous.
If I can determine your credit rating, I can determine whether I want to be part of your system or not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is for my old co-host Sam when he was interviewing on Raw. I don't know if I brought this up last time. I guess he was. I never noticed it until someone said anything. But if imagine you're talking right now, and while you're talking, I'm going, mm-hmm, yeah, yeah, That I understand that can get really damn annoying.
It's like anything. If you do it too much and repetition and at regular intervals, then yeah, it's like cleaning my fingernails. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But then you can go the other way too and sort of ignore them with silence.
You got to actually listen to what the other guy's saying.
It is.
Instead of formulating the next question in your head. It's an interaction. It's not I'm just going to spit out a question and you answer it. No, it's got to be a dialogue.
People get really good at that. That's probably the ones that make the money is the people who figured out this interview process, when to say and when to not.
I guess so. Ooh, I'd like to hear your opinion on this. This person, Kevin Solway, he's responding to a quote that most likely the prevailing definition of feminism. So he responds, the prevailing dictionary definition of feminism at this time is advocacy of women's rights. Oh, at that time. Feminism has never been about advocating for men's rights. All right, so, but the prevailing dictionary definition was wrong and didn't describe what feminism had become. Which equal rights can you conceive of which somebody might oppose without being prejudiced? A person might argue that women should not be able to enter roles in the fighting forces where they might see physical combat on the grounds that women are generally not biologically designated to be fighters and may also be pregnant, in addition to may be impractical and possibly disastrous to have a handful of women in a force of entirely men for many reasons. What do you think about females in the military in general?
I don't know. I'd be interested to see what happens if they didn't put your gender on the form.
Well, at some point you're going to have to issue them a uniform. Are you talking just all the same uniforms?
Well, it's like, it's sort of a best, hypothetical thing that if you just didn't ask them whether they were male or female, then they wouldn't get, you'd wait until same as you may not want to put the guy who's 5'4" and 120 pounds in a position that really requires 6'2" and 250. It's like, are we discriminating against the skinny guy who may not quite be as strong?
There are skinny, weak guys in the military.
Yeah, but you don't put them in a place that they're not going to be able to perform.
Right. That's why there's minimum requirements for every job.
So why don't you do that without regard to gender?
Exactly. Do you think there are females right now that could complete the minimum requirements for a combat job in the military?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so the ones that can meet that minimum requirement, they should be allowed to be a trigger puller or
I mean,
infantry
what else
or
is the requirement?
artillery or mortars.
If it's
Or,
not physical strength and endurance and the ability to do a
that's
job,
exactly what it is.
why does it matter?
So you would be for women in infantry,
Yeah,
in
but
combat MOSs.
I think there would have to be a substantial change in the way the males look at it. So to me, it's
Well,
like, y'all need to get used to this fact that
that usually takes a year or less. As soon as they started letting openly gay military members, service members, as soon as they allowed it to be openly gay, it ruffled feathers for less than a year, and now everything's back
Well,
to normal.
and I can understand that, but once you get into like, putting people in situations that are very basic, and then expecting to ignore the fact that one of them is female, and you get the whole male-female interaction. If we can get past that, which
Which we should be able to within a year.
well, we're a long way away from that. That's like,
You think?
well, it's programmed body. It's like being naked.
Sexual dimorphism, the fact that we're physically different from each other.
Yeah, and the fact that you grew up with Playboy or whatever. It's like,
Sexualization of the other sex.
yeah.
Then
And I think that's almost.
how long
purely-
did it take when women were first introduced into the military at first, when they were first allowed to join the military?
But they were probably given what might have been fluff jobs, not to diminish their role any, but
Yeah.
back
Well, they had
office
to start
jobs.
somewhere.
Yeah, but that was
That was a bigger change than allowing women in combat
Oh, yeah.
MOSs.
But I mean, there has to be that recognition that yes,
But eventually we got used to it. And no one bats an eyelash anymore if you're serving with a female service member.
yeah. But then whose idea of this are we talking about? Are these people that are just sort of, they're going to look at that anyway, regardless of what the situation is, or they're always going to look at, no, women won't. No. We're always going to look at them as, man, what a set of tits. And it's,
Well, some you might not be able to change. But you know what? Those dinosaurs can just get weeded out.
but it is going to be a while before those dinosaurs get weeded out, because we basically invite those dinosaurs. Because this is
But
war.
women have been in the military for decades now.
Yeah. But I mean, if it's over, I suspect there is an inherent bias that
In the
if you-
combat jobs.
well, if you have any phase in the selection process, if you're comparing a 6-foot guy to an equally capable female, is there bias inherent in the system that male will make it farther?
A bias or just a genetic advantage? Because if you're in a combat MOS, being 6 foot and male is going to be a genetic advantage to being 5 foot and female.
Yeah. Well,
And in fact,
convert
unless
that, take away female, and leave that as male with the same body characteristics.
you're still going to have not much chance of succeeding in that line of work.
Okay, but can we recognize that it is that female's build and not the fact that she's a female is the reason we don't let her continue on in this path?
That's how it's been before. I don't see what's changed, except now we're letting women join the infantry. Women could never join the infantry before.
Because of those preconceived.
But you already admitted there are some, and I know from personal experience, there are some that can meet the requirements. So why aren't they allowed?
Probably because of the inherent male-female, relationship that I don't know, maybe just primal.
Well, I've heard an argument where if the shit were to go down, we're in a firefight, the males would be more apt to protect their female service members, you know, than
That's
the
quite
males,
possible.
and they would gravitate towards them and maybe go out of their way to almost to a dangerous level to protect them and not others.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work to get
I
out
don't
of.
think that's true, though. I think you're looking out for your left and your right, no matter what they got in their trousers.
It is at that point, but if you've developed this relationship before that point, in whatever's worked up to this,
Oh,
you may have started treating that person differently. You know, by the time you got into combat, you look at them differently.
what about two males that are gay that developed a relationship prior to the combat situation?
Be the same to me, the same thing. I mean, if you've got that dynamic going where I don't look at you as a physical person or a friend that's going to be with me in this situation, I kind of look at you as a woman or whatever.
I don't know.
have a well, but I think that would occur before you got to that combat situation.
Because even heterosexual, all the same sex, you're going to build a bond. And
True.
there's bonds being built everywhere.
But that-
strong bonds where
That bond gets built way early. You know, if
right.
you-
So all of the bonds get built way early.
Yeah, but
prior to a
if
hostile
you-
situation.
Yeah, but if you're building those bonds and you've got other factors included, this being female, may or may not be up to the physical characteristics of what you think is necessary to, you know, pull your ass out of a whatever. That prejudice started early. So by the time you get to a battle situation, you've already made your mind up with whatever that person is. If it's female, if it's whatever, you know.
Can it affect your ability?
Well, I don't think it will
to
affect your
perform?
ability. It affects your ability to trust them.
How so?
Well, you've already made your mind up, whether they're female, whether they're some other gender than you are. Maybe they're, I don't know, we could carry it over to religion now. They're another religion. I don't think I'm going to trust them.
All my Marines knew I was an atheist. I don't think it affected how
Well-
they saw me one bit.
Well, yeah, but you probably, well, it was male and male. It was
A lot of times.
You've
Sometimes not.
already proved yourself physically, so they didn't really have any doubts about you.
Okay.
And, you know, you had a lot of heritage, and they decided early. They decided a lot earlier than when you got into a battle situation that I'm going to trust this person.
Other reasons led them to have trust in me besides that. So
Yeah.
it counteracted the fact that a really strong Christian is following under the leadership of an atheist.
Yeah, they probably, you know, I'm sure it contradicted some Bible verse they can think of, but when it got down into it, it's like they realized that you were a trustworthy person. And I think those relationships are started early, like boot camp and how you socialize with those people out of that situation. So that by the time you get there, you've already decided how you're going to look at that person.
Yeah.
But I think it shouldn't matter. Of course, I think that way about gender and color and all of that. It's kind of like that got back to why I think that this country sort of creates those divisions. You know, why don't we take color off of all the government forms?
I'm right there with you.
It's like, why do we need
I'm
it?
tired of trying to, you know,
Oh, let's see.
I never
was
feel
I
in
Afro- did I have some American Indian blood in me?
exactly. What box do you even fill in?
Yeah, I think it's stupid. And they'll tell you that it's to, you know, track equality and track whether. Well, once you track that stuff, you're divided.
You're dividing yourself.
You're divided. You're
You're
creating a
defeating
division.
the purpose of even putting that on the form.
Yeah, and I think that's intentional.
Oh, here we go. Government conspiracy on that too, right?
Well, I think divide and conquer. Like, you know, what better way to control society than to divide them, especially if you can make them fight between themselves. Even
All
if-
this racial and gender polarization and division that we have right now.
Okay.
Government is not initiating that. It's not catalyzing it. We're doing this all on our own.
No, I would disagree.
Wow, really? I think this is completely
I think
cultural
if you look back
division.
at-
We're eating ourselves.
if you look back at how our government was built and the things they do, all along the way they're going them, and they just continue to divide us, and that's how it works. If we can fight among ourselves, we won't fight the government.
I bet you believe that crack cocaine was developed by the government to enslave urban blacks,
No,
to keep them warring with each other, or
I can't say
other races,
I can't say
or to
that
keep
that
them poor.
Wasn't I can't say that an agenda of that type did not exist. But
So you don't rule out that possibility.
I can't say that they used that particular substance.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the CIA's history with drugs, you realize that they were aimed squarely at the low-income communities
To do what? Keep them poor?
to
To
keep
get them fighting with each other? To make them unhappy? What?
to keep them on drugs,
Wow.
just to keep them out of, if you can drug a population, you can get some gangs going, they'll fight among themselves for years without looking to see where that problem really came from. Who is in charge of, who is manipulating us so that we're always
Do you
constantly
feel
fighting?
paranoid on a daily basis?
Oh, no.
I mean, your whole worldview is steeped in something that, if I got in your head just for a day, I would just feel paranoid. I'd want to just I'd turn off my Wi-Fi, never get online.
Oh, no.
You never feel paranoid?
No, it's just...
It feels like a very paranoid, hyper-vigilant way to live.
It's a system.
Mm.
We live in that system. If you want to ignore a bunch of it, you can. You'll have a happier life. But there's just lots of it that you just can't ignore because the evidence points that way and the history points that way, and it's like,
Wow.
we just do stupid shit in this country.
That's a good place to end. Thanks for coming, buddy.
Sure.
Atheist Edge. Walking the edge of what some consider offensive. But your feelings don't matter here, only facts. Edgy commentary on the dangers of doctrine, the foibles of faith, the bullshit of belief, the stupidity of superstition, and the idiocy of indoctrination. With razor-sharp wit, curiosity, and critical thought, we take an unblinking look at today's religions. We are Atheist Edge.